Like, is there a way, if somebody does have a lot of stuff on their plate, like, is there a way that you kind of like pick and choose what you're going to attack first or try to get rid of or, work towards first? Is there, do you number your goals? Do you go through is there like a level of importance to them?
For the weekly stuff?
Just in general, on a weekly, like for me, for example, I know like one day of the week I've got a podcast, I've got, editing stuff to do, recording videos. I also try to do that. Like I've tried to do that on a weekly basis because that is a skill. And if I don't do it for a little while, it gets kind of like...
You're rusty.
I'm rusty and I'm like taking and getting a bunch of takes. So I try to kind of get reps in, but just kind of managing and balancing all that. So sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I have all this time. And like some days I'll have like a pretty open day and I'm like, I have all this time. And then I'm like, what do I start on?
Yeah.
And then like I spend the day like doing a little bit of everything and kind of get nothing done.
Yeah. So I try to do this thing where, and again, I can mess this up too, but when I'm at my best, what I do is if you look at my yellow steno pad, there is a section where it's like the things I have to do every week. Okay. Essentially, it's just like, it's simply the rhythm of the week, the heartbeat of the week. It's just the pulse.
Yeah.
This is the thing that keeps everything going. So this involves certain training days, lifting days, emails, videos, just the things I have to do. These things are constants. They don't change. And then beyond that, it's like, okay, here's the projects I have going on. All right. And then which one is the most urgent? What has to be done? And then I just block out time. And when I block out time, phone goes off, everything goes off. I'm by myself. This is why people will send me messages and you don't hear from me. It's not because I'm being a jerk. It's just like I have to close out. Otherwise, I'll just be answering text messages and calls and everything else all damn day, and I won't get anything done. So it's like just no distractions, Yeah. So I'll just flip my phone off, put it in airplane mode, and I get down into the grind or get it done. If that means I'm doing videos, I'm recording videos. If it means I'm, filming, I'm filming. If that means I'm writing stuff for a project or a book or thing that I have coming up, I'm doing that. But otherwise, I'm in the zone. But I basically just pick something, and it doesn't matter what. But that all goes back to, all right, here's my goals for the month, or the couple months, and then those are broken down. And then like, what do I need? What part of the chunk do I want to work on? And just kind of getting it for me. It reminds me of my one of my mentors, again, the same one that told me to do all this stuff. This is kind of an idea from him. He was telling me, I remember when he was renovating homes, when he was doing a lot of flips back in the day. He holds his real estate now, but back in the day when he was doing flips, he said that he would get into a home and sometimes it would be overwhelming. There would just be so much that needed to be done, right? God bless, this house is a mess, right? What do you do? Where do you start? So what he would do is he would just go around the house and write like a game plan up for each room. Here's what this one needs. This is all right, cool. Got my game plan for the house. All right, one room at a time, right? Boom. One bite at a time. If you want to go back to that Andy Stump podcast, Keep the World Small. Yeah. Right? Like just finding a little chunk that you can get done, get it done. And if you have everything lined out for that project or that thing that you're trying to work towards, then if you simply just say, okay, well, here's the chunks I need to get done. Let's knock out this chunk. And then we'll knock out the chunk later. And you just kind of chip away at it. But it's hard if you, like you said, if you've got a lot of irons in the fire, you have to kind of like prioritize some of them and then just, focus on one little thing at a time. Otherwise, it's really hard, especially if you're, and again, this is true for most people, like with like the entrepreneurial stuff going on where you're running businesses and stuff. It's a chaotic mess sometimes, and you almost have to be okay with that because it's going to be. Yeah. But creating some focus is helpful.
Yeah, there's not an exact blueprint for it, I mean, there's kind of guidelines, but it's like nobody does what you do. Like nobody's Chewy.
Well, and nobody's going to do it the way that I do it because they're not me. And so like you can like in this goes back to it, like, for instance, like they'll say successful people wake up early. Not all of them. I know plenty of them that don't wake up early. Like I know plenty of guys that are millionaires that don't wake up early. They stay up late. Like that's when they get the some of their best work done in the wee hours of the morning. Right? That's when they, like in the late nights, right? That's when they get their work done, so that's when they feel comfortable. You got to find your own rhythm with stuff, because it's like we look to people's blueprints, or we look to people's like their things as blueprints, but they're suggestions and you take them and you should be messing with them. Just like, again, with the technique idea, you take a technique and you're like, oh, okay, I need to adjust this one to make it work for me, right? It may not work right if you do it their way because their situation is different, right? Like I don't wake up at 4 a.m. 4:30 in the morning. I would like to, because I actually do like waking up early. Problem is I got to teach class at like 6 to 7 o'clock. Sometimes I'm training sometimes from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
It's late, bro. So if I've got to get up at 4 in the morning and I'm training till 8, I'm not getting to sleep till about 10:30 or 11 because it takes a couple hours for me to wind down after training. So then that means I've got like 5 hours of sleep. No, I'm not doing that, because then I'm going to be screwed, you know? So it's like I will wake up a little bit later, usually towards 6 o'clock to 7. And this allows me to then get to sleep to 10, 11. And I feel much more rested. That means I'm getting, between 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and I feel great. I get a lot of stuff done, and so I got to find the rhythm that works for me, not for someone else.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big thing, is like, you listen to people, and it's always just kind of like you have to adjust it for yourself. But that's kind of the way that I do it, is with the kind of having that vision, breaking those goals down, and then like focusing on one like little chunk at a time over the course of a week or whatever. And again, like day to day, it could change as long as I'm focusing on those projects that I have coming up for that specific thing, or those goals that I have for that specific thing. Because again, the goals are written down. Yeah. So I know what my goals are for the next 3 months. This is what I'm working towards. I'll get more ideas, of course, and I can throw them into the box. But these are the goals that I'm working towards.
Yeah, I've got. I think